Hey everyone, I'm Katie Daryl. Today we are at home and social with Ann Wilson of Heart. Fierce Bliss, that is the name of the new album. And I got to admit, it's kind of the mood I'm in right now because I'm so honored to be speaking with you today. Ann, thank you for being here.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I have to admit, I sing your music more than I should admit to. It is my go-to jam, any Heart song, and I
Cool.
never do it justice. But the dogs come running because I'm terrible at doing what you do.
So, but your dogs like it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's all that
And
matters.
Ann Wilson, you have a new album out. It is called Fierce Bliss. The latest single is called Greed. Greed is a dirty,
Mm,
dirty thing. Tell me about the inspiration for
yeah.
this song.
Oh, just that, just little things in our everyday lives
Mhm.
that I noticed that I was doing that was all about me. It was like more, more, more. And I think my husband called my attention to that. And at first I was really pissed off, like, I'm so sure. But then I thought about it and I went, well, yeah, I mean, that's inherent in all creatures. They're self-motivated and they on a larger level, that's what's going on in our country. I mean, the whole corporate greed thing and political greed and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. It's just everywhere. And I thought, what a cool thing to write a song about, one of the seven deadlies,
Well,
alive and
yeah,
well.
it was murder or greed, and you went with greed. So thank you. No.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah.
But this album, you did. I mean, you were one of the ones that listen. It was summer of 2020. There was a lot of people in hiding and just being like, you know what, I'm putting everything on hold and I'm not doing it. And
Right.
you leaned into recording an album during the pandemic. And you speak of this song "Greed" and what you saw around you. Was that specific of that era of the COVID, or did you have notes of this prior to the pandemic?
Yeah, I had started writing some of these songs like Fighting for Life and As the World Turns and a couple of the other ones before the pandemic, but they like Black Wing, I think, was the first one that was written in pandemic. Uh, but that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, that quarantine time, because um, suddenly I'm taken out of the crossroads of all this chaos and urgency and excitement that is the rock world, and then put in this really quiet, um, introspective place. And it's just, there's nothing to get up and go to. You aren't even going to go to the store even. So what do you do? Well, for me, that's bliss, because I love to daydream, and I'm spacey as hell. And I just love to just think and dream and look out the window. And that's where my songs come from.
So are you a journaler? Do you have these daydreams and then you quickly write it down, or do you do audio
Sometimes,
memoirs? Okay.
yeah, sometimes I write them down. I tend to write when I need to vent. I don't write every single day, but if I need to vent, I'm really upset about something or super happy. And who's the best listener in the world? Well, it's your journal,
Right.
you know.
Well, and you recorded this album, Fierce Bliss, at a pretty iconic location. Tell our viewers all about this.
Yeah, we a bucket list thing for me was to record at Muscle Shoals in Alabama, and because of the rich history that place
Yeah.
has. And I was not disappointed when we got there. It was just as funky and cool as they all said it was. And there's a magic about the place that it's hard to talk about. You just feel it when you're there. It's just like welcoming, opening its arms to any kind of creativity that happens there. It's
Well, I mean,
very
this is
cool.
a place, Muscle Shoals, is where, first off, it's like a registered historic landmark, which was pretty epic. But I mean, the Rolling
Right.
Stones, Bob Seger, Cher, Rod Stewart. Come on, baby.
Well,
This is a rad
Aretha
place.
Franklin, you know, like Aretha Franklin and all those early soul singers, they all had their big, massive hits out of there. And used the Muscle Shoals band and everything that was just these little cracker guys, but they sounded so amazing and convinced everybody that it was hit material, Hitsville.
So that was a place that you said you had always wanted to record at. Is there any other bucket list places on your list of places you want to record, or places that you want to play that you didn't get to, or places you need to do again because you want to get it right?
Yeah. Well, I think the bucket list one that most musicians have is Abbey Road. And I would love to go cut something there just to feel it, you know. Other than that, a studio is pretty much a studio. Like, other than what may have transpired there before, you know, in terms of hits or whatever.
Do you have a home studio?
Yeah, I've just got a Pro Tools rig because I like to go into a studio, you know.
Sure.
I like my home to be my home.
Yeah, you got to separate it, right? It's kind of like having the TV in the bedroom and then you're watching CNN and now I'm having nightmares. Come on. What do you expect?
Right. And there goes your sex life, you know. But right. But anyway, yeah.
All right. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Katie Daryl and she is Ann Wilson of Heart. Her latest album is called Fierce Bliss. It's due out this April. The latest single is called Greed. Some cool people did help you on this album. I'll name drop and you then can kind of gloat on them. Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Had no idea that you guys were buddies, and here he is just helping you out. I think some of the guys from Government Mule stepped up as well.
Yeah, the whole band. And Warren and I wrote 2 songs together for this record, and Government Mule played on the track. So I was just, for 2 songs, I was just their lead singer, you know. But I love that band. They're so great.
Are there I mean, at this point, I feel like you are someone's bucket list, right? I feel there's so many artists that are like, if I could only get in the studio with Ann. Yet, I mean, listen, this is real life. You admire other musicians as well. Do you have your eye on anyone right now, past, present, you know, someone that you're like, oh, I mean, it could go old school. It could be a Mick Jagger, or looking forward to an up and coming act that you just started to hear about?
I would love to do something with Lizzie Hale.
Oh, she's rad.
Yeah. She is.
do.
And I just met her for the first time the other day down there in Nashville. We were working and she came in and we just hung out, and she's awesome. She's really smart and really, really into music, you know, like a real music person is. So we had a lot to talk about.
Her latest album actually did kind of just come out, and I love it. Access TV is a huge fan of Lizzie Hale. She actually has a TV show on the network called A Year in Music. I think it debuts in April. So, hey, if you're watching this interview, get a plug for her.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Now, I know you're going to be heading out on tour, and obviously it's going to be supporting this new solo project. Will people get to hear any of their favorite Heart tunes when they come and see you on the road, or do you try to keep it very separated?
No, I don't. I do some Heart songs. I don't do a huge percentage of the set is not Heart, but I do maybe 4 or 5 Heart songs in the set, maybe a little more. But yeah, we definitely pay homage, and because they're good songs, and people, you know, they'd be disappointed if they came and they didn't get to hear Barracuda, or they didn't get to hear Crazy on You, you know, and I still like singing those songs.
Speaking of Barracuda, a couple of years ago, Barracuda was used in the Trolls 2 movie. All right. So now there's this whole generation of 5, 6, 7, 10-year-olds that got exposed to you that might not have otherwise known about Heart and the voice of one Ann Wilson. What does it mean to you when you now look out into your audience and you see a much younger generation that came along with mom, dad, or grandma, grandpa?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I've met lots of younger people who've come to, I think they're kind of exploring their roots, you know, especially a lot of younger women are, because their generation is actually living feminism, and they want to come and see where it all came from, you know, And I love that. It's super cool. And especially to look out in the audience and see like these multi generations
Mm-hmm.
is pretty awesome. It's a thing for people rather than for a pigeonhole generation, you know.
Well, you brought up feminism, and March is Women's History Month. And I'd love to
Yeah.
dive into that a little bit with you. And being a woman in an industry at a time when it was way more difficult to be a rock and roller. I mean, Hard is noted as being the first hard rock band fronted by women. And I guess we would say
Yeah.
probably commercially successful, because certainly there were other gals jamming around the country as well. But you
Yeah,
guys,
sure.
I mean, took it to the top and took it to a new scale. When did you learn to embrace the sisterhood and support other women? Because a lot of time we are vetted against each other to fight. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
when did you learn that the jig is up? I don't have to do that.
Yeah. Just as the years have gone along. But you know what? Like, I'm never going to let anybody off the hook. This is me personally. I'm never just going to applaud somebody succeeding because she has ovaries, right? Because it's when they're good and they're super talented and they've really got something great to offer that they have worked on and honed, that's when I applaud, man or woman. So I'm excited seeing so many women get good, get really come up with something of their own. They're not just, you know, wearing the uniform and trying to be dudes. You know, they're full on female, and they've created a parallel rock and roll universe of their own. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
For those of you just tuning in, I'm Katie Daryl. She is Ann Wilson of Heart. Her new album is called Fierce Bliss. It's available this April. The lead single is called Greed. The album is described as a classic rock comfort food.
I know, I
It
read
sounds
that.
delicious.
Yeah, like I don't know, ice cream or something, but no, it's what I do, you know, it's just
Yeah.
the way I hear songs portrayed. Eh, and I suppose that would be considered classic rock. It's
Hmm.
guitar heavy, um, lots of lyrics to tune into. You can hear what's being said. Uh, it's not auto-tuned or anything like that. It's pretty organic sounding.
You have so much success under your belt. 8 times platinum with Heart. Over 35 million albums sold. That's a good number. That's really impressive. What is the hardest Heart song to sing?
Well, let's see. It's probably hardest. Probably
It
Crazy
doesn't
on
have to
You.
be vocally. It could be emotionally too. What?
Oh, that. Oh, that. Um, emotionally, none of them are that hard for me to sing. I love them.
Yeah.
But technically, vocally, I think it's Crazy on You because it's high and you can't really change the key on that one. You just got to sing it where it lays and hit those high notes and go for it. And there's all kinds of little parts, different little sections that you have to remember and all kind of stuff. So, but Heart songs are not that technical, really. There's just a few little things about them, like in Barracuda, there's a bar of 5 thrown in the middle of all the 4/4, which throws people off, you know, which is cool. But
What
that's the one.
do you have a ritual? Do you have a backstage ritual that you go through, whether it's for your vocals or just to get yourself in the right mindset?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because to me, it's not totally about getting your throat ready to
Hmm.
sing, it's getting your soul open enough to sing. And so what I like to do is I like to put on a CD of somebody that I really admire and just sing along with the whole CD. And so that will warm me up for 40 minutes in a lot more fun style than just singing scales, you
Yeah.
know.
Do you think you're better when it comes to writing? Are you better writing angry or writing when in love?
Hmm, probably angry, but
About love? No.
both are good. Both are
Right.
good. The extreme heightened emotions are great for songwriting. But in anger, there are so many different ways you can do it. You can
Hmm.
be the victim, you can be the aggressor. There's just so many different ways you can do it. So, and it's full of energy and power, which I like.
Fierce Bliss is the new album available this April from Ann Wilson of Heart. What does your solo project mean for Heart fans? I know your sister put out her solo last year. We've got this solo from you now this year. Does that mean everything Heart related is on hold? What can fans of the joint project have to hope for?
Well, I just got to say that there's there's no truth at all to the myth and that Nancy and I are feuding all the time. It's not that way. It's just that
Hmm.
we're both in this period where we want to do our solo stuff, and
Yeah.
when we do come back together and we decide who the backup band is, yeah, they'll be hard again.
We gotta stalk you to find out when some tour dates or information's coming out.
Right? Yeah,
Fierce
yeah,
Bliss
yeah.
is the new solo project from Ann Wilson, and the cover art is simply gorgeous.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration to making sure that this was made so vibrantly?
I've always been a super big fan of Roger Dean, the artist.
Okay.
Back in the day when he did all the covers for Yes, and he does great fantasy stuff. And I just thought, I love all the super saturated colors and everything. So
Hmm.
just asked him, just told him the name of the album, and he came back with this fantasy idea of the parrot on ice, which I love. It's just, it's so appealing to the eye. And
It
so the album
is.
package, yeah. And so the album package that he designed has got a booklet inside and all the lyrics and just art all the way through. So you can sit and you can listen to the vinyl if you like and look at the thing.
I was going to
And it's
ask you
great.
about vinyl.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, vinyl is fantastic. I know obviously your album, your new solo album is available on many of formats. What do you recommend people get? Do they download? Should they get the vinyl? What do you think? What do they need their hands on?
Well, if they just want to hear the songs and don't care that much about sound quality, just download. If you want to hear the real thing, the way it was recorded and the way it was meant to be heard, give vinyl. But whatever is the most practical for your lifestyle, I'd say that's what you should get. If you're a person that just uses earbuds and listens while you're jogging, do that. You can still hear it. But if you want to hear the real magic, you got to go with vinyl.
Are you a vinyl collector?
I have been, yes. I'm not right now because we just moved, but I see a record player in your background there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
little
try to
turntable
put
there.
something on. This is actually the puzzle room. So I've got a puzzle over here, and we put on a little
Uh,
vinyl, and I have a 6-year-old, and we kind of just jam out in this room and have
oh, work
some
on
no television
puzzles.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
gotta do that. Everyone got into puzzling over the pandemic. Did you fall into
Yeah.
any weird new hobbies?
Well, just mostly songwriting, I think. I mean, th that was the thing I did, and organizing. You know.
My linen closet looked great the first week. I was like, look at
Yeah, the first week, that is.
I know it's too hard to keep up with that stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. Ann Wilson's new solo album is called Fierce Bliss. It's available this April. The lead single is called Greed. And there are tour dates through May and June. And I'm sure more stuff will be popping up throughout the summer. So
Yeah.
you can catch her in your favorite city. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, Ann.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. Hey there, thanks for watching Access TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know, just let us know what your favorite Access TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I'd like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.